The house smelled of fresh paint, baby powder, and the faint sweetness of store-bought cupcakes. I walked through the door and immediately felt the shift in the room's energy. Laughter bubbled from the kitchen, warm on the surface, but sharp and pointed underneath. My sister waved me over, a practiced smile stretched across her face, but I caught the slight tilt of her eyes, the same eyes that always measured me, always questioned why I didn't fit their version of family. I made my way past the balloons and pastel banners, letting the chatter wash over me. I could hear snippets of comments before they were properly disguised. If she'll never understand. It's not like she's really part of this. My presence wasn't unwelcome exactly, but it was tolerated like a half-remembered obligation. I stayed long enough to see the patterns I knew by heart. Cousins exchanging knowing looks, aunts covering their smirks with napkins, everyone circling around stories of parenthood I would never share, as if my opinions didn't matter. They assumed my life was incomplete, my choices secondary, my empathy conditional. I could have argued, corrected them, pointed out that I'd quietly handled things they never noticed, bills, errands, small acts of responsibility that kept their lives steady. But I didn't. I let the laughter carry over me like wind. I left the room silently, leaving a trail of subtle absence behind me. No words, no confrontation, just the door clicking softly as I stepped out. The walk home was quiet, the cold February air brushing my face, carrying away the heat of judgment. I thought about the patterns I'd kept invisible, the late-night transfers to cover the mortgage, the envelopes slipped into their mailbox without a word, the quiet management of finances no one ever credited me for. I'd been the scaffolding they never acknowledged. 2 weeks later, the call came. My sister's voice cracked with panic, the sort of panic that comes only when the foundation you never noticed starts to crumble. The landlord had posted the eviction notice. Utilities had been shut off. Notices stacked like tiny judgments on the kitchen counter. Their smiles from the baby shower now felt brittle, hollowed by reality. I didn't answer immediately. I watched from a distance as their orchestrated world wavered. And then, almost ritualistically, I stepped in, not with anger or accusation, but with precision. Payments I'd quietly been making continued to flow, catching up what was overdue. Letters were drafted, deadlines met, accounts balanced. The shift in control was tangible but not theatrical. They realized slowly, reluctantly, who had been the hidden support all along. When they finally called, it was less a confrontation and more a revelation. I didn't gloat. I didn't remind them of their cruelty at the shower. Silence had done my work better than any argument. I let the consequences speak for themselves, letting them reconcile their embarrassment with the relief of stability I'd always provided. I still reflect on that baby shower, the laughter, the whispers. It wasn't just about being dismissed. It was about the assumption that my value was visible only when loudly declared. In reality, influence and authority can be quiet, unnoticed, uncelebrated. Sometimes the most significant power is the power to sustain without spectacle, to intervene only when necessary, to correct without drama. The family eventually stabilized, bills paid, the eviction threat gone, but their perception of me shifted in subtle ways. Glances now carry hesitation. Conversations include pauses where acknowledgement could have been absent. They can't undo the recognition that comes with reliance, nor can they forget that I had been the invisible backbone all along. And I too carry a quiet weight, not of vengeance but of steady understanding. That's the part they'll never truly seize. My calm, controlled presence, and the knowledge that I can step away or step in silently and still alter the course of their lives. Power in the end isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet authority that never needed to be claimed.